I've been told by a lot of people that I trust that I should submit my stuff to record labels and try to sign to a record label. Currently, I don't feel like that's the proper path for me. I feel like I have enough resources up in here and around me that I can learn how to do a lot of this stuff myself.
Hi, my name's Sophia Bavishi. I'm a 22-year-old singer-songwriter live performer. I also specialize in live looping and live digital performances.
My name's Royalties. I'm a singer-songwriter slash.
Hi, my name is Michael. I'm an artist first and foremost, and I also do production and mixing on the side. And I'm also a songwriter.
What's up, guys? My name's FMO. I'm an independent artist from Joliet, Illinois.
I'm Lucy, and I'm an independent music artist.
Hey, I'm Will Double S. I'm an independent pop artist, singer-songwriter, music producer, and the founder and owner of Will Double S Records.
My name is Jody. You might know me as Jot Singh, and I'm an artist, singer-songwriter, based in LA.
What's going on, guys? My name is Evan Sternbach. I'm a senior in college in Philadelphia, and I'm also a singer-songwriter and a musician.
What's up, everybody? My name is Dean Ludden Swift. I'm a producer, singer, songwriter, mix engineer. I master my own music. I own a record label. I kind of do everything on my own.
Hey, my name is Luca DL, and I'm a rap artist from Brazil living in New York City.
Hi, my name's Cam Allen, and I'm the co-host and producer of the Apple Juice Pursuit podcast. I'm also the co-owner and creative director of Sunroom Studios LLC Corporation.
My name is Cassandra Pinataro. I am a pop singer-songwriter going by the artist name Cassandra, a professional opera singer, and a Miss America local title holder. I served as Miss Boston 2022 and Miss Music City 2023. Now, being a woman in this industry can be a bit frightening and a bit intimidating. And I say this because it is more of a male-dominant industry, especially certain fields. There's lots of different fields in this industry, from the artist side to the creative side to the business side of things, and then the audio engineering and the producing. And I've noticed that the more male-dominant side fields in this industry are the audio engineering, mixing, mastering, and production side. Now, being a woman trying to get into this field, there is not as many women that are able to get into it or are doing it. And I think a lot of that comes from men always kind of telling us that, oh, you can't do it. Are you sure you know how to do it? Do you need help? Almost belittling and making it seem like we are not capable. When that is not true, because I think we are all very, very capable of doing these things. And I think things are going to change a lot. In fact, I've been seeing it change. A lot more women are getting their foot in the door and actually going for these things. They are becoming audio engineers. They're mixing and mastering, doing things that no one thought women would be doing. And I think it's incredible and amazing. And I just cannot wait to keep seeing where this is going.
There's absolutely a double standard when it comes to male representing versus female representing artists in the music industry. I think for female representing artists, there is such a great pressure to fit inside this beauty standard box. There's also a pressure to recreate our look so many times. Look at how many times somebody like Taylor Swift has had to reinvent herself as a woman versus another male counterpart artist that may not have had to do the same thing. I really see two sides to this. On one hand, I love when artists take risks. I mean, I'm a major Swiftie. I love all of her different eras, and I wish that more male artists would do this. On the other hand, I think it is incredible to see women standing up and highlighting their own reality, showing real bodies, real skin, real everything. It's recreating this beauty standard such that everybody has a place. There's a seat for everybody at the table now. And it's taking the pressure off of women, but also opening up a more inclusive environment within the music industry, which I think is beautiful.
I definitely think artists should be getting paid more per stream just because there's so much work that goes into putting out a song, especially independent artists, because that's like their main source of revenue for a lot of people. And that's the main source of revenue that they want to have and like not have to work the 9 to 5. So I think there definitely should be a change.
Do I think that artists are paid enough in terms of salary per stream? No. 1 cent per stream is not enough. Simply, it isn't. I mean, listen, when you think about it, the artists are what keep the customers coming back to Spotify, okay? And the fact that Spotify is shelling out hundreds of millions of dollars to people like Joe Rogan and stuff so that he can do his podcast down in Texas where they talk about, elk jerky and supplements, that's not really... That's not enriching the creative community from which they benefit so much from. Okay, personal vendettas aside, there are people struggling out there putting out great music that's keeping the customers coming back, and they're not being monetarily compensated enough for that or properly. It's an issue that's always been around, and it's an issue that we're going to need to continue to keep fighting, okay?
I think some platforms are better than others. Apple Music's a lot better. You get paid out a lot more per streams. And it also has to do with the fact that there's a lot less people using it. So with that in mind, wouldn't it make sense for something like Spotify, there's more users, to pay out more money? I agree. I think it would make more sense. But obviously, I do not run the company. So, but I think it could be higher. I think if it was higher, because Spotify makes a ton of money anyways, but if it was higher, that would provide more leverage for artists like myself, any other independent artists, to actually bring this to labels when they try to offer them some sort of cheap deal and say, look, I'm making this on my own. I don't need you, so bump it up.
If you are an independent artist and you're just starting to build your online presence, starting to build, to grow your fan base, you cannot expect that you're going to have a solid income just from your streams as a salary. That's unrealistic. That's something that's not going to happen unless you go viral at the beginning, especially because of the amount of money that Spotify pays. That is just 0.003 to 0.005 cents of a dollar. We all know that that's nothing if you're not a huge, massive artist with millions and billions of listeners, thousands of listeners. And that can also change. It can be more or less depending on the country where the listeners listening to your music, if they are paying the Spotify premium or if they aren't. There are a lot of things involved, and there are a lot of things that we have to consider. And I kind of agree. It's unfair, this payment. If you put it on comparison with the amount of time and money that musicians spend creating, producing, and promoting their songs.
My opinion on what artists get paid per stream, I believe, is relative to how much work you put in. The harder you work, the smarter you work, the more streams you get, resulting into the more money you make. But this is not about the money. You focus on the money, you're never going to reach your goals. You're just going to get in your head and constantly think, I need to reach this or do this. I'm not getting here. I should just quit. You just got to focus on making good music, doing what you love to do, being there for your fans, and that's what will make the income come.
Now, being an artist is definitely really hard to make an income, especially when Spotify only gives out 0.003 to 0.005 cents per stream. That's not even a penny worth. I think artists at bare minimum should be at least getting a penny worth, if not more, because we put our heart and soul and hours of time to create these masterpieces and music, and it can be very vulnerable at times.
My opinion on the current rate that artists get per stream from big platforms like Spotify and Apple Music is that, it's tough to live on if you're a smaller artist. Not only is the actual amount per stream pretty low, it's also sometimes pretty time-consuming to actually receive payment, depending on your distributor. So it's definitely something that makes you have to get creative in terms of finding other revenue streams, as well as finding, better ways to promote your music and monetize your platform. So it's just what the market is set at right now, but I definitely would say that it's difficult to make a living purely off just streams.
My opinions on the current salary that artists get paid per stream, not enough. Obviously, as someone who puts music out myself, I think everyone would like to see artists get paid more per stream. I also don't think it's that likely, just because of the way that the models of streaming services are set up with revenue sharing. I don't see the services becoming much more generous all of a sudden out of nowhere. I know that the United States government, Congress, has passed around some legislation recently in the last year or two, I want to say, regarding getting songwriters paid up a little better. But I think it's just kind of set up the way it is, especially with the volume of artists that release music every day. There's just a lot of people that the services have to split revenue with. And then there's also labels and industry companies that make deals and sign contracts with Spotify so that their artists get paid more than independent or than other labels, etc. So it's complicated. It's a lot. And I think it kind of just is what it is, which is why artists need to explore every avenue of income that they can to be successful long term.
So yes, thank goodness artists are finally getting paid slightly more per stream on Spotify. I don't know the dollar per stream would ever be achievable without significantly raising subscription fees and then trying to actually get listeners to purchase those subscription fees. Never say never. I just think it might be unlikely. That said, I don't know that streaming services will ever be the number one form of revenue for artists. And I think that more artists need to be educated on this, need to understand it better. There needs to be more access to music business knowledge.
The royalty per stream ranges from a molecule of a cent to a whole penny. I'll be upfront with it. Spotify is a better streaming service than Apple Music from a listener standpoint. I mean, as a listener, Spotify is definitely, my favorite streaming service with all the listening features, all the different, playlists and all the fun stuff they got. But as an independent artist, Apple Music is way better. You know why? Because they pay 1 penny per stream. Spotify is expanding their features to spark more of their creativity, including the new Spotify Clips feature and countdown pages that were announced at Spotify Stream On 2023 a few weeks ago in March. If you only stream my music on Spotify, it would take 300 streams for me to buy a coffee. And that's for all the artists, because Spotify only pays 0.003 cents, about that much for royalties per stream for artists. And for independent artists who aren't, like me, everyone who doesn't have a large audience like Rihanna or, Lizzo, then it's not too much money.
So the current salary that the average artist makes per stream is like the fraction of a cent. So it's not even close to enough to support yourself financially and live off of it, unless you have like hundreds of millions of streams, which I don't have as of yet. And I knew that going into it. You have to find another way to make a living while you're supporting your dream at the time.
Now, aside from trying to make money as an artist from streaming platforms and from Spotify, I have found another really great source of income as an artist is gigging and live performing. I gig all the time, I do live performance opportunities, and I found it's a really great way to help with income. Some options are you could go through a booking company and then they're able to help schedule you for gigs, and then those can become more of a weekly and occurring thing, which is really nice because it becomes more of that steady income.
I think 3 things artists can do to grow their streams of income while making music are: 1, obviously increase your streaming numbers, because then you'll get paid by your distributor per stream. 2, you could grow your platform on social media and then get paid to do promotional posts for brands. That's another way, kind of as an influencer as well as a musician. And then 3, sync licensing or signing to a record label. You'll get an advance, and then obviously you'll have more resources to hopefully make additional money after they recoup their investment, as well as keeping the advance that they gave you. So those are a few ways to diversify your streams of income and kind of make a living as an artist. But I would encourage other artists to, early on, you don't necessarily need to focus on being fully profitable or doing this full time. I think there's something to be said about having a stable job that gives you free time to work on your music and gives you that, security that you need. And then at the same time, focus more on growing like an organic fan base, not necessarily selling them things or doing tons of promotional posts or doing all these things to make money early on. Like, focus on getting that money from elsewhere maybe early on, build that strong fan base, and know that that's going to help you really monetize in the future. So again, just those are some things to think about, but those 3 income streams are probably the main ways most artists make music these days.
I think it's all about finding your path, finding what you want to do, and working damn hard to be good at it.
Independent artists have to do everything by themselves. We do everything by ourselves, and this is something good. We have to take advantage of it. The main things here: if you know how to play bass, guitar, piano, sing, all of your services as a session musician, do it live or do it from home. You have that option. compose for other people. If you know how to make beats, sell your beats. And if you know how to mix and master, offer that service. If you know how to take pictures, I know a lot of musicians that are also photographers offer the service too. If you know how to make cool link videos because you have done many for yourself, offer that service. Two, if you know about social media, you can also offer services as a community manager. And if you're passionate about teaching, you can give classes or you can teach through YouTube, write an ebook, and share your knowledge. There are many things that we can do top. Well, I've tried a few things, but the only one that has worked out until now is this one that a friend of mine recommended to me. He's also a musician, and he told me about these websites. You probably know it. It's called Pipers. So yeah, I offered my services there as singer-songwriter. Like, I would sing your song. I would provide vocals for your track, for your cover song. I would sing a hook for you. I would write the chorus. Yeah, I've been hired for a few jobs, not as many as I wanted, but still, it is a good place to get people to know you, to build your reputation, because that's what matters on an now website. You know, that you have your 5 stars and all the people saying they're doing a good job. So yeah, that's what I found.
Currently, I have the roles as a music producer and independent artist within the industry. But I've been branching out into audio engineer roles and sound designer roles.
I just ate a bunch of cinnamon rolls. I'm involved in a lot of shows here in Las Vegas. I help with production at Chippendales. I do that also at Comedy Cellar. I'm also involved with shows like Raiding the Rock Vault and Penn and Teller, things like that. There's quite a few income streams that I have as a music artist. I have everything from my own music. As a record label owner, I have royalties in other artists' music, and that revenue comes in. I also have flat fees that I charge for productions or for mixes, masters, anything like that. That will just be a like one-time cash fee. I also have, of course, like ad revenue and things like that. A lot of my time is spent behind the scenes. I work like 2 day gigs, and then like this music job is split into like 4 things. I really, really do spread out my time pretty thinly.
I worked at Jack in the Box. I taught guitar. I played guitar for kids. I've done a little bit of sponsorship deals here and there, and I played, my first show, and I made money doing it. So I've done stuff here and there, trying to make some money, but it's not enough to live off of it yet. You need other jobs on the side.
When you look at a 360 deal, there are so many other forms of revenue that artists can be taking advantage of. So while streaming may never be your largest source of revenue, even as someone like myself that is a new developing artist, I still make most of my revenue on merchandise and live show ticket sales. So that is a piece of advice that I would offer to artists that are wondering why they're not making that much back on streams. It's because streams are not the answer to your overall revenue goals.
When I was growing up, looking at artists, I believe they just did the easy work per se, making songs, performing, simple stuff. But doing it myself makes me realize that there's a lot of roles one person has to play. You got to have the creative mind to be able to make the music, set it all up to actually create the song. You got to make lyrics for it. You got to make a music video for it. You got to market it. You got to engage with your fans. You got to post on social media consistently. There's a lot that comes with trying to achieve success in music. And, they all work hand in hand. And if one's lower than the other, you're not going to get to where you want to be. So you have to keep all of them in line and keep them up to date and just focus.
Some ways I have been able to earn a solid income within the industry. I have not. I'm a senior in college. I want to write songs and make music for a living, eventually tour and perform. It's really about being able to network, expand your network, who you know, getting your name out there, just continuing to develop your skill set and just get better than everyone else, pretty much is what it comes down to. Being smart and savvy with social media and promoting, getting in front of new people, engaging them, and providing value to others, whether it's fans or colleagues or other writers, producers, whatever. My opinion on the 4 different roles within the music industry to make a solid income: touring, merchandise, maybe streaming, and then, I mean, there's sync licensing, which is creating music specifically to pitch to commercials, companies that are running ads, internet ads, YouTube, commercials on TV, movie, like background music in movies and TV shows and stuff. That can be very lucrative, but it's also competitive. Streaming, obviously, very competitive. Touring, there's a lot of overhead that goes into it on the front end. Touring, but is also the most lucrative by far. And that's with people engaging and coming out to pay you directly to have that in-person live experience. Even with COVID and everything, it's not going anywhere. People always want to have that experience with the artists they support. And you kind of have to be able to be open to at least tapping into any and all of these revenue streams if you want to have longevity and a solid career in the industry long term.
Something I've done personally that has given me some consistent money is just mixing for other people. I taught myself how to mix, and that's honestly kind of given me some cushion in terms of finances, and also producing for others. I think a lot of the tech side of the music industry has more money behind it, which is kind of sad, but it's just the way it is now.
As an artist, what can you do to try to make a living for yourself these days? Because you're not going to be making it off of streams unless you're Drake. The best thing to do, and really what people are doing these days, is you got to become a jack of all trades, okay? So, you got to learn videography. You got to learn photography. You got to learn video editing. You got to learn website HTML.com, coding, hacking into mainframes, audio engineering, mastering, mixing, recording and stuff, being able to, play bass for people on track. You definitely, playing 4-string bass can make you tons of money. Obviously, that raises the challenge of balancing that with your creative life, making music and stuff like that, because that, doesn't always work on a linear schedule, okay? You can't always just plan out, okay, I'm going to be creative from here to then because I have a day off on Saturday. Sometimes sparks just fly. And if sparks are flying, but then you got to go clock in, then, you're going to lose that, or you got to work on Joe Schmo's wedding video that you did. You're not going to be able to, bust out those midis that are coming to you in that moment. And that's important to capture that inspiration. You can't plan your inspiration, okay? So really, what is the goal? What are the ways that you can do that? Focusing on music? Well, one way is touring and gigging. Actually, not touring. Let me clarify. You can't it's for our artists that are kind of like, small to mid-level range. It's really hard to make money off touring. Most of the time when you tour, you're going to be breaking even, okay? But that doesn't mean that you can't make money by playing around town. Most people live in towns and places where there is a local need for, live music. You may be lucky enough to be in a place where there's actually a scene for live music. Maybe a scene for live music that's in your specific genre or niche genre, you know what I mean? Once you're just doing this stuff, opportunities are going to come your way. And that's what I always say. And so there are other ways to doing it besides relying off of streaming income, because that's not going to work out for you, okay? Patreon, Bandcamp, try it. It's hard. It's kind of a grind unless you already have an audience and a following. If you're starting from the ground up, it's kind of hard to get people to go to somewhere to pay for your stuff. So, people will always recommend TikTok, but it's almost hard for me to recommend it because it's hard for me myself to keep up with TikTok and everything that requires. But if you have the capacity for it, to be that social and in and, then definitely do that, because it's an opportunity that we'll never see again, like Elon Musk and Tesla. So I'm joking. That begs the question, should you just go ahead and pay for streams?
Pay for streams is heinous. What are you trying to prove? No one, I wish I'd known this back when I was starting out. No one cares. if you have one song that has 50,000 listens and you have 45,000 monthly listeners, if those people don't actually care about your music. I think one of the best ways to actually determine if someone is paying for their streams or not is to look at their Spotify following. And, if they're not at least like 10,000 subscribers on Spotify and they have a good amount of streams, are people really listening at the end of the day? Like I said, the best way is to always go about it organically. It's free. All you have to pay for is your time and your effort. It's free.
My thoughts on paying for streams is in the middle. So with paying for marketing campaigns and all that stuff, technically you are paying for streams, which is sad. But I think the reason I did it was because I know that the music industry right now is so saturated. Everyone's releasing songs. There's about like hundreds of people releasing songs every day. So that's just the truth of what we're in, and no one really cares about your music unless you have a number of streams next to it. So I think like in terms of music marketing and organic growth, that's how you get organic growth through playlists that aren't bots, basically. So like real life playlist curators that have these playlists that a lot of people follow, and basically the marketing agency will pitch it to those playlist curators. And that's how you get organic growth through that kind of thing. But with artificial streams, it's just like it'll end up hurting you, and in the end it hurt me. In the end, I used a marketing campaign that used botted streams, and Spotify ended up taking down my song. So I would definitely recommend do not do that.
My opinion on organic streams are streams that come from people who don't primarily focus on the music itself, but rather the artist, their background, and the lessons that they have to tell their fans. I try to bring in people who respect me and what I've gone through and the lessons I've learned and the pain I felt. That way we can all relate to it as a whole and come closer together.
In my opinion, that's just not worthy at all. To me, it's the same thing as being lying to yourself, as buying followers on Instagram or Facebook or subscribers on YouTube. It's just a lie, a trap. And I know that it can seem like it's a giant opportunity for you to make things happen quickly, but it's not. And these people just will come to you, offering you the world, making fake promises. They will tell you they're going to have millions, thousands, or billions of plays. And yeah, you're going to have that technically, but that's all that you're going to get. That number, because you're not going to be reaching people really. You're not going to be growing your fan base. That's not going to happen. And if you have the money, don't do that. Don't throw your money like that. Sit down, calm down, think wisely, go to Google, do some research, and find other ways to promote your music, ways that are more effective. By promoting it by yourself, that's the first one on the list. By networking with other musicians or just casual people. By using Facebook ads, Instagram ads, those can be really helpful. YouTube advertisement. Submitting your songs on Spotify playlists to see what happens. And these ones that I've been hearing a lot lately, contact YouTubers and ask them to play your songs on their videos, negotiate something that is convenient for both of you, contact people who have a higher social media reach, engagement, then you negotiate there something too to see what happens. It has to be aligned to your mission and purpose as an artist, as a brand. You already know that, but I'm just saying it just in case. So yeah, that's basically my message. Don't try to win the marathon without running. don't rush it and keep it clean, because you can get into trouble because of that magnificent service. Why? Because streaming platforms are not tools, and they can detect all those irregularities, all those streams that got your songs overnight. That's suspicious. Usually these people just play your songs over and over and over and over and over and over again from the same location, same day, and it's pretty obvious to know that, yeah, it's not real, right? And you can get shadow banned, that's the word. Yeah, you can get excluded from Spotify playlists, and you don't want that. So
I think paying for streams and any sort of engagement is usually one of the worst strategies any artist could have early on. One, because it might get you shadow banned or restricted on a lot of social media platforms that track for this sort of thing, so it could hurt your growth going forward, hurt your algorithm, and a lot of the times even get your music removed. We saw that huge purge of Spotify songs that were on botted playlists, so that's something to just be careful of. It's also not doing much for you in terms of, you know, actually gaining any real fans. It's more numbers for vanity, which, you know, there's stories of artists who use those kind of vanity numbers to then sign to record labels and get a deal. But I think these days labels are a little more sophisticated, and they're able to track those things a little better. And then also, if you're truly lying about the numbers and you do sign a deal, you trick them, sure, but at the end of the day, the truth always comes to light. It's better to get real feedback from real people, and some ways you could do that are running paid ads. There's, you know, there are ways to pay for engagement that's real through, you know, you could do Facebook ads, YouTube ads, or anything like that, pay for promotion on Instagram pages. But I think these days there's so much space for free promotion on short form content apps like TikTok, Reels, YouTube Shorts, that I don't necessarily encourage you to be paying, even if it is organic traffic, like through ads on any of these big platforms. Just focus on making really good content, getting feedback from real people so you know what you need to work on, what your strengths and weaknesses are. And then eventually, trust me that if you really are good at your craft and you're putting in the work, really listening to the feedback, that you're eventually going to grow your fan base, and it'll be a lot better than if you had paid for some kind of vanity numbers early on. Good luck, everyone.
When you pay for streams, you're paying for fake streams. You have to face the facts. It isn't organic because the streams are artificial. Plus, you're depositing more than you'll earn. For example, me using the playlist campaign was going to be $100. It's basically paying for streams. And you're paying more than you get because of the 0.003 cents that Spotify pays. And even with the 1 penny per stream from Apple Music, you're paying more than you get. The only campaign that would seem the most organic Spotify marquee, since it's paying for boosting the publicity onto their front homepage, not of the Spotify app, not just having a bot play the streams. It's not organic.
So I'm really weird about paying for streams or paying for views. Not that I haven't done it, I've tried, but it's just not as satisfying as earning the streams or earning the views organically. And I think the smartest way to go about it is do a combination of both. But at the end of the day, you want your fans to be real people that engage with your stuff and actually, buy stuff that you put out. I've read this in multiple places that you really need 1,000 true fans. You should let that sink in. 1,000 true fans means people that are going to buy your stuff, go to your shows, interact with you. You just need 1,000 of those people. You can have 100,000 followers and have 1,000 true fans. And you can also have 1 million followers, but only 1,000 of them are actually true fans. So just the number itself doesn't really mean that much. The quality of people that follow you and interact with you is also really important. So that's why I kind of refrain from paying for views. It just doesn't feel real if you have 100,000 views and, none of them really care to check out your other stuff.
You got to be careful with the whole, paying for a spot on a playlist, paying for X amount of streams, paying to be considered even by companies that are on playlists, because a lot of it can be fake, fabricated, fake streams, bots. It can ruin your profile on any given streaming service, screw up your algorithm moving forward. It doesn't really give you any traction, any real people that are engaging and can help build a community around your music and your mission. Got to be organic 100%. I've been duped and kind of lied to in the past when I was just starting out about, oh, I can get you this many streams in a week or 2 weeks. If they're guaranteeing you a number of streams in a number, like a set time frame, it's fake. Stay away from it. The cheaper it is, it's fake. Stay away from it. Really using social media, TikTok, Instagram to your advantage, Reels, YouTube Shorts, and then advertising and just getting your music in front of real people that then can decide what they want to do from there is the name of the game. And taking care of the people that are already following you and engaging to kind of foster that authentic community that you really need to be successful in the industry long term.
You find these bots that are going to be like, I can buy you streams. If you give me X amount of dollars, I'll get you X amount of streams. And then you have all those streams on your Spotify page. And then people are going to be like, oh, wow, I want to invite him to my birthday party with Lady Gaga because he has a lot of streams. No, it doesn't work like that, okay? So don't pay for streams. Focus your time, your money into investing in yourself, into your skills, into making good music. If you take care of yourself, you'll be able to get inspired. If you invest in yourself, you're going to have the tools and stuff that you need to get those ideas out of your brain into the world. And then people are going to love it, okay? And then you'll be walking down the red carpet with Justin Bieber, okay, or MGK.
Streaming campaigns. I do love a good streaming campaign, particularly because it is low effort. Somebody else is curating the playlist, somebody else is pitching your song. That said, I don't know that they lead to the most conversion when it comes to building a fan base. I do think, however, a social media campaign can be a better option for this. So, for example, if you were to do a campaign that led people back to your artist profile, help them learn more about you as an artist, that would be a great way to grow your fan base. What is difficult and kind of a conundrum going on with TikTok is that people are getting engaged with sounds, but not artists. So think about how many times you've had a TikTok sound play over and over in your head and you didn't know the artist, or if you did know the artist, that is the only clip from one of their songs that you knew. You didn't actually go check out the whole song. You didn't actually check out the rest of their discography. So this is a bit of the conundrum where people are having sounds from songs be the forefront of conversation instead of artists, and it is stunting our growth in fan bases, stunting our growth with revenue. So you have to be very strategic in your social media campaign to make sure that the focal point is growing awareness of the artist and the art and the story around that art rather than just a sound. But I do think this is a better way to grow your fan base and just have a clear result after the fact instead of a streaming campaign.
Do not sign up for streaming campaigns. It is the dumbest idea you could ever do, because I have tried it before, years ago. And sure, they'll get you 30,000 listens on a song, but it'll be on playlists where either they'll be botted listeners or listeners that don't care. And you'll end up with 30,000 streams, but you have 29.5 thousand listeners. So it doesn't really work at that point. So don't do that. Spotify Marquee. I used it once a year ago. I really enjoy it. My audience has grown significantly since then, about 10 times as much.
I personally think that is such an amazing new tool that artists have now to promote their releases, to grow organically on Spotify, especially because everything is going to be happening there, in a place where people are listening to music. And in my opinion, it's a campaign that is better targeted because it will be redirectioning the right people, all those casual listeners to your music again. And so it's more likely to have better results from a campaign like this. And about the requirements, the ones that you are probably worried about, because I was starting to read them, just need to have 1,000 followers, 5,000 streams on the last 28 days, and you can start with a budget of $100. So yeah, if you have access to it, I think that you should definitely give it a shot, because it seems to be one of those things that actually pay off if you have a plan.
I personally haven't used Spotify Marquee, but I've read into it and it seems legit, especially because the campaigns are ran by Spotify themselves, and hopefully I can run one, probably not on mine because there's a requirement of minimum streams and minimum followers and listeners, but the Duke of SeaWorld was on my record label,
has those amount of listeners and is able to use Spotify Marquee. So I'll probably be experimenting with that campaign on his upcoming song that's in the works.
It's kind of like a marketing tool on Spotify to push your music out, I believe, to more people on release day. I think it's a good tool. I think that whatever the baseline requirements are, kind of vet out just anybody being able to use it, which helps the quality of the music being marketed by Marquee for Spotify, and also the fact that artists have to reach a certain level of, okay, at least a decent amount of people are interested in the music. It must be of some solid quality. Maybe this artist is moving in a positive, strong trajectory. I think it benefits Spotify and the artists that can use it, and it gives smaller artists something to work toward. So I think it's a good idea.
It might work. You can get some solid retention per stream, but you could spend $200 on 400 clicks on Spotify Marquee. Or you could make 20 TikToks and get 400 clicks. Both take time, one takes less money.
I found much more success recently in advertising campaigns, almost like a business would run ads on Facebook or Instagram, YouTube, whatever. Just getting the music in front of as many people as possible, letting them decide if they want to listen or not, follow through to Spotify or not.
At first, I thought it was just TikTok, and I had been pushing TikTok solely for, I don't know, 2 years at this point, 3 years at this point, and I was wrong, because recently I've been posting on Instagram Reels too, and YouTube Shorts. Those are all good ways. You want to have the largest reach possible. And promoting on all of those platforms, honestly, even incorporating Facebook Reels, which I think is not as popular with our generation, but it's very popular with, people the age of like my parents or boomers, even older than them. Use all of them. Don't stop at one. Make the same video. Post it over and over and over again.
Early on in my career, I did have experience with streaming campaigns. Was it organic? No, not at all. The first one was free, though. I submitted my song Fades Away featuring Cedo 3, and it was free the first time, but then I, looked into it. I got about like 3K streams from the first one, but I looked into it for the second one. It was going to be like, oh, $100. Like, obviously, I was in high school, but I'm not going to have $100 to give you. It's going to be me being in debt for a few weeks.
Streaming campaigns in the past, some of them have worked really great. Some of them were bots, and that was just at the beginning of my artist career where I didn't know what to do or how to properly market my music and which companies to go through. So those were definitely scams, but I have learned from that, and I have been able to work with some genuine people that actually have helped my streams and helped my that side of my music. So that's been very helpful, and I would recommend for at least 1 or 2 releases to do that, so you understand like how it works, and then you can maybe use that on your own.
My experience marketing, a big part of it is getting that Spotify editorial playlist, and you can do that after you submit your song to your distributor. It will show up on your Spotify for Artists page, and then you can submit it to a playlist for curation, basically. I have not had any luck with that yet. I still follow all the standard protocol for what to write and the genres. I think the hard part with me is that my music has a hard time fitting the genre, and that's just the biggest issue I lie in right now. And that's okay. I'm okay to deal with that. However, I have had a lot of friends that I know personally that I've gotten those playlists. One of them I've never met in person, but his name is Rapta, and I worked on one of his songs with Johnny Badluck called Loyalty. He has songs produced by people from Internet Money like Nick Mira, KC Supreme, and things like that. And when you have those kinds of credentials on your music and you include that in your submission, the odds of you getting curated are a lot higher, or at least the odds of you being considered are higher, because you're relevant. Playlist curation is gatekept, but it's also kind of fair. They're gatekept because people won't provide opportunities for people who aren't ambitiously talented and passionate. If you are really, really good and really, or at least show that you are adamant about perfecting your craft and getting better constantly, then the right people will give you the right opportunities. So it's all about making a name for yourself, trying to spread love with the world in terms of what you're trying to convey through music. If you're just trying, and you're not thinking with your heart or your mind, you're thinking about your pockets, or you're thinking about clout, or you're thinking about whatever it might be, things that are more inauthentic to the experience, I think you might not find the opportunities you're looking for in the music industry.